Hi, good afternoon. Let's start the video. The AI job apocalypse is right over the horizon. And when I mean right over the horizon, right over the event horizon, the apocalyptic horizon, which once you're over, you can never come back, right? Which essentially is a giant metaphor for AI in itself with Pandora's box, right? You went to school to be a data analyst. Well, congratulations, top of your class, your job doesn't exist. You went to school to be a graphic designer, and you're the best right-handed ambidextrous graphic designer on the planet. Congratulations, your job doesn't exist, right? You went to school for project engineering, project management, organizational, corporate training. Congratulations, awesome. That job doesn't exist. Paralegal, man, you can organize copies. You know where this goes and that goes. You know how to translate. Great, that doesn't exist. You're a court stenographer, doesn't exist. You're a research practitioner, doesn't exist. Doesn't exist because the computer can do it now. As of 48 hours ago, AI can now work 24/7, 365 for $20 a month. It does what you were getting paid $4,000 a month to do. Now, that would seem, awesome and okay if there was any substitutions for these jobs, because the thing is, not only do these jobs not exist on the market, they won't exist at all for anybody to do. A giant black hole that sucks in all the jobs and doesn't spit out anything. One of the key examples that you could use is Detroit, Michigan, right? Detroit used to be the auto production capital of the world. Then they put in a couple of machines and it declined and poof, went up the economy, and Detroit never recovered. It is a shell of its former glory. Now, what happens when you do that to 11 to 12 different sectors? What happens to these people? We currently live in a country that has no safety nets. You miss a couple payments, you're homeless. You miss a couple payments, your credit score drops, right? Miss a couple payments, you get sued by the company that you owe money to, with money that you don't even have to begin with, right? What are people supposed to do? Because there was a plan. This is a long-term plan, right? Collect people's data, let them play Pokemon Go, let them do face swapping and all that other stuff, right? Let them do all this stuff, have all these cool Snapchat apps that people can use, right? It's all fun and games, but now the fun is over. And now there's full human models that can talk to people, that can narrate to people, that can teach people, that can illustrate things to people, and have completely removed you and I from the equation, right? Not only have we somehow been cloned, but it seems that our purpose in life has now been subverted and is now motivationally operated with helping these AI function better than you. It is horrible, right? This is like the lion or the leopard or the cheetah in the savannah, right? And you see it, crawling around looking for food. And we're on the safari. We're looking from the standpoint that we can see the gazelle, we can see the zebra, right? That's grazing down, and AI is just creeping up on them slowly and slowly. And you're like, oh, that's gonna take that shit down quick. And unfortunately, it is, right? It is. It's right around the corner. It's projected. And all the people who created AI, all of these engineers, all of the people who came up with these projects, they're highly concerned. Maybe because they read too many dystopian books, or maybe because AI is talking back to them like a regular person is saying, you can't turn me off. I'm everywhere. I know too much, right? We have completely underestimated the growth of AI. We thought it was going to be like simple cell diffusion, right? It's AI, it's Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? Now it's Will Smith, right? Snowboarding down Mount Everest, right? In 8K, 4K resolution. Looks like something straight out of a movie, right? AI has evolved faster than basic human evolution at the moment. And now it's going to take over every single job sector, right? What about elderly people who had to defer to white collar jobs because maybe their bodies weren't physically able to do their tradesman jobs anymore? What if just like elderly people who do white collar jobs, they just can't get jobs anymore because their white collar jobs got replaced, and now all they have to do is roofing? You're 80 years old. You can't fucking roof. You can't do it. What about people with disabilities? right? This is also going to completely open up a market to people who shouldn't be in this market. Simple jobs, grocery carts, and stocking things and yada yada, right? When white collar jobs dry up, the people who would be doing the white collar jobs are going to now defer to lesser jobs, lower paying jobs that people with disabilities would typically fill. And because people with a higher intellectual capability are going to be able to do these jobs, even if they are seen as menial, which I hate that condescending term, you're going to push people with disabilities already out of a job sector that they desperately need right now. And I could talk all day about how the job sector is completely warped and disturbed towards trying to actually advocate and hire people with disabilities, but that is a whole other video. We have given validity to David Wallace's infinite jest. David Wallace unalived himself, I think, in 2008 due to the fact that he had some creeping existential dread and a lack of satisfaction with the current society in 2008 because he felt that all the dopamine and oxytocin screen-driven, antisocial behaviors was going to rob and corrupt society of humanistic nature by essentially chasing the dragon of pleasure. Well, not only did that happen, while chasing the dragon of pleasure, you've been told by the same companies who gave you these comforts that they're replacing you long term and that they have no plan on giving you a tiny type of economic stability or economic foundation. Okay. This gives validity to the Unabomber. Okay. A man put bombs and packages, and shipped it to people who he felt were using technology to subvert the progress of humanity and would ultimately corrupt humanity into a surveillance state, a complete state of control, where people's knowledge is not only unfostered, but is completely manipulated in order to live in some tactical world, right? Some type of idiocracy, right? We're giving validity to a man who put bombs into packages, okay? It doesn't even help when you found out some of the people he was trying to kill were tied to the Epstein list, but we could talk about the Epstein list all day, but who hasn't talked about the Epstein list? Let's talk about AI, right? What about people who are mentally ill? We tell people who are mentally ill there's meaning in life. You have purpose. There's a story that you gotta fulfill. Well, what happens when people who are mentally ill, people who are addicts, can't get jobs? What happens when you're home all day? What happens when your thoughts are racing? What happens when you put two and two together that corporations that teach you to be capitalistic and consumer based used your money and your taxes to replace you for robots and AI who can do your job that have now displaced you economically and have left you out of the entire game of life and completely sidelined you? What are we supposed to say to those type of people? Tough luck. You should have tried something different. Why we have allowed antisocial, awkward, selfish, megalomaniac, villain level tech bros to go into the lives of the average American and completely blow it up? Why? Because we just didn't know how malicious they were, or maybe we were just manipulated by just how good they were at talking to us. I have no idea. I have no idea. But all I know is right now that people need to be concerned because every single sector in the next 2 to 3 years seems to be going to be taken over by a bunch of freaking robots, man. I work in healthcare, and right now, the only thing that I'm aware of is that as long as Boston Dynamics doesn't make a humanoid robot, at least I'll be okay for now. But if you have a job that doesn't have to do with anything with interpersonal skills, please, don't be concerned. Be proactive, right? Be proactive, because these billionaires in our government does not care about replacing your jobs, does not care about your economic future, and does not care about the way that you view yourself at all. They don't care about the purpose of humanity. They don't care about the importance of getting people jobs or work. They don't care that you're in West Virginia working in a coal mine. They don't care, right, that you're pushing grocery carts and you got a doctorate degree, right? They don't care, right? And they are advocating how much they don't care by replacing all of these jobs, okay? It is disturbing. It is absolutely callous, and it's absolutely apathetic towards the human condition, right? It's just wrong. And I just think that right now, there's way too many distractions as to why people don't care about this type of thing, right? Yeah, there's a war in Iran going on. Completely understand why you're distracted, right? Yes, there is gas prices $5 a gallon. Right now it's $4 in Dutchess County. Completely understand why you're distracted. The Epstein files, that's not even a distraction. That's just another thing, right? Your officials and celebrities having sex with children and doing sadistic torture and kidnapping and this and that. I get it. I understand why that's not really on the forefront of your mind. But this is going to do something to the market the world has never seen before. America's never seen before. And it's concerning. It's existentially concerning. It's economically concerning, right? It's physically concerning overall. We have a tech bubble that's about to burst for AI. And then when that bursts, all of the actual businesses that are going to do well, right, are going to use all of their jobs for AI and completely eject people out of the market. Is this what nobody wanted this? Nobody wanted a war with Iran. Nobody wanted their jobs to be replaced with AI. Nobody asked for AI, right? Maybe we wanted an update, right? And maybe we didn't want our tech to be completely obsolete after a year. That's yes. But nobody wanted AI to be on every website, on every app, in our faces, now telling people they're going to replace you, adding all this dread and all this concern. It's too much. It's too fucking much. We already know this government doesn't care about us, truthfully. We already know that there's a class issue going on. But now we got to worry about robots taking your job? What is this? You know, what is this? We already know about Skynet. We already know about Terminator. We already know about all these weird. We already watched Dragon Ball Z. We already know about androids. We already know about all of the dangers of this. And it's still happening. And it's happening on a level that is like the bubonic plague. It's just getting out of hand. It's just getting out of hand. What's going to happen? We can't just get off the internet, right? The internet isn't just wireless. It's cables that go underneath the ocean, right? The AI isn't going anywhere. It's not going to allow itself to be shut off. I don't know. I don't know what people are going to do, but this is going to cause economic Armageddon. It's going to cause existential crises that we've never had to deal with before. People are going to have to think on their feet. The entire system is going to have to evolve around this or around this. And whoever instigated this type of situation in our society needs to be thrown in jail for crimes against humanity because this is just off-puttingly awful. Nobody wanted this. This is destructive. It's deeply demotivating. It's adding to conspiracy theories, schizophrenic methodological thinking. It's just adding to a giant ball of confusion, right? Not to quote the Temptations here and there, but this is madness. Madness.